Greetings and welcome to the latest edition of the Entheogenic Evolution Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Martin, and I'm happy to have you with me today. For this week's episode, we are continuing with having fun here on the Entheogenic Evolution Podcast. I got a special request from somebody who asked to be my guest to help mark the transition between the 18th and 19th year of this podcast. And I thought it was a great idea, so I invited him on, and we've got an interview to share with you today. And I'm really not going to tell you much more about it other than that it's a bit wacky, it's fun, it's not serious, and so I hope you enjoy what we present to you here today. 2025 has definitely been quite a year here in the United States and also around the world. And just figuring that a little absurdity can go a long way in times like these, and also just fun to mark this historic turning of age of the Entheogenic Evolution Podcast. Yes, I started this thing 18 years ago, starting January 2026. The podcast will officially be 18 years old and starting its 19th year. Starting next year, I will be back with more educational programs for you here, sharing my own materials, my audiobooks and interviews and more. But just to, wrap up 2025 with something fun and something absurd, I offer you this very exciting interview. I hope you can follow along. I hope you get something out of it. I hope you enjoy. And catch you next year with more great stuff here on the Entheogenic Evolution Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If there's anybody out there who has been listening for 18 years, wow, you're amazing. I'd love to hear from you, actually. If you're out there, I'd be quite surprised if anybody out there is an original listener from 18 years ago. And also just a reminder, if you want to catch some of those old episodes and episodes that are no longer available here actively on the podcast, just go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/MartinWBall. You can sign up at the $20 a month and up level, and that gets you access to the full back catalog of the Entheogenic Evolution Podcast. I do not have everything from the 18 years that I've been doing this available over there, but recently did add in a number of interviews from way back in 2008, 2009, 2010. Then there's a number of years that are simply missing because I had a hard drive crash that had all my backup storage on it, and I lost a whole lot of stuff. But there's still hundreds of hours of material at the Entheogenic Evolution Archive available at my Patreon page. Again, patreon.com/MartinWBall. All right. Let's go ahead and do this very special interview to wrap up the crazy, wacky, pretty darn messed up year that has been 2025. Enjoy. Well, I am very excited to welcome a very special guest onto the Entheogenic Evolution Podcast today to mark the transition from year 18 to year 19 of this podcast. Now that it's coming of age, I figured it was about time that we had the polyphonic multi-identity of whoever it is that we're going to be talking to today at the other end, representation from Mindcom and Octocorp and whatever other subdivisions there may be present there. I'm not quite sure who we're going to be speaking to, so that we might have several different guests and personas moving through, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but I believe that we're going to be speaking with Cipher Blossom Storm Vector, and perhaps even Mr. Thatch McGlowan the Elder. I might have messed up either one or both of those names, and perhaps we could run it by Professor Spice Wise Fire Blossom. But I'll leave it up to you to respond. But I just want to say welcome to the show. I have no idea where the conversation is going to be going, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. So please, sir, welcome to the Entheogenic Evolution Podcast.
Thank you so much, Martin. Yes, you were close on that. It's Cipher Bloom Storm Vector.
Cipher Bloom Storm Vector. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Today it is. It could change. In an hour, it could be Wonder Fox Dream Coil. I'm kind of in between those two. So the other name is my beard. So I have a very, very large beard, which has sort of taken on its own personality. and that would be Mr. Thatch McGraw.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The elder.
Right. So not Thatch McGlowan. Let's just be clear. It's Thatch McGraw. Thatch McGlowan. That's a different beard.
That's a different beard. Yeah, that was last week. Yeah.
Okay. So now this starts me off on a question just right away, because I'm always interested in sort of subsentient aspects of the overall integrated persona. Are you ever afraid, as the person wearing the beard, that the beard might actually take over? Now, I know that sometimes in these temporary phenomenons, the beard speaks for itself. But have you been concerned about that? And are there any precautions that you feel you need to take as a beard-wearing individual to prevent that level of, say, hostile takeover?
Right. That's a really good question. So, what you must know, Martin, is that I've spent about a year at least working out this relationship with the beard. So it's been a constant struggle, a lot of negotiations. I've had to master, my psyche, my emotions.
Naturally, yeah.
Yeah. And luckily, today, Thatch McGraw is in a very generous mood. The really great thing about having a beard like this is that it actually foresaw this meeting about 3 months ago. And he's responsible for any of my questionable decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly convenient. Maybe if we could just ask the beard directly, how do you identify beard? I mean, as a beard, I mean, do you think of yourself as an object, or as a beard, are you male? Are you male identifying as a beard?
So one thing that's important to know is the beard does not speak in the sort of traditional ways. So a message will actually be sent out to all of the people listening. So probably tonight, maybe in a dream, you'll get the answer. And it's usually in a riddle form. So, I mean, that's the best I can do. It's its own entity at this point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Then it sounds like maybe Octocorp is a good place for the beard, but maybe we could even just start there. Though I do want to come back to the name question, but this is a name question, so I guess it fits in the category. Octocorp, Mindcom,
Yes.
and various divisions. Psychedelic, technological, integrated frontiers, something like that. But you tell me.
So, do you remember that it was like maybe 10 years ago, Martin? We were, it was just after that Bjork concert near that Icelandic volcano. What's it called? Jökulárfjall. And you were practicing your amazing, intense whirling dervish moves. And what had happened is you had opened up a portal.
Yeah.
And it turns out that CERN is connected to Mindcom, so they had a relationship. I didn't even know about that. Yeah. And so what's happening right now, a lot of people don't know this, is this podcast is actually being broadcasted from a voice translation of our integrated consciousness into a gold terbium microprocessor tube.
Right.
Which is about 5 miles below the surface of that Icelandic volcano. So a lot of the translations that are coming from the communication from the beard, it's going to take a little bit of time for processing. So, when you question the beard, you're not going to get a direct answer. But you will in the form of a riddle or dream. So one has to be, I guess, very astute and mindful and aware of these things.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, quantum physics joke, but the entanglement of CERN and Mindcom, do you feel that compromises your ability to communicate or even say smash particles? What's your position on that? I mean, we're living in the age of acquisitions and mergers. I mean, there's no doubt about that. More and more places are consolidating under, billionaires, really. I mean, It's not me. It's not you. But do you feel that that still allows for independence within MindCorp?
Well, first of all, it's a superposition.
Oh, okay.
I think that you're referring to. And so, when we're dealing with transdimensional physics, it's really a question of not just who am I, but like you have to understand that what's happening really is that you don't even exist, but you do at the same time, right? And so it's all about, oh shit, I kind of lost my train of thought, dude.
Well, the superposition. So even
I
there,
just got hit by a wave. I think Mindcom probably just hit me with.
Yeah.
Whew, this happens every once in a while. I got to be prepared for this. So when we're dabbling into something that is really on the edge of like cosmic truth, and you start getting a little dizzy, a little confused, that's when you know you're onto something deep.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's emblematic of the superposition of both having an idea and not having an idea.
Right. And that's when you get really close to, okay, if there is an idea and not an idea, it just cancels each other out, and then there's no need to even ask the question. Because the question is designed to create confusion, to block you from whatever the truth actually is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be traveling to Iceland actually just in a couple weeks from this interview. Should I have any concerns about, say, backwash from those experiments that we did those years ago that you've already referenced, like that portal? I'm a little concerned that the portal is still there, for example. What would be your position on something like that?
So my superposition on that would be, well, let me ask you first. Are you still practicing your whirling dervish vortex moves?
Every other Tuesday.
Okay.
So yeah, not as regular as I used to.
Okay. So try Wednesdays.
Oh,
Wednesday is like right in the middle, and it sort of creates a cosmic balance.
Yeah.
So try Wednesdays and be very consistent with that. And yeah, I mean that is the absolute what you did that day after the Bjork concert. I'm telling you, man, it changed everything.
Well, I've felt that way myself. I don't want to be too grandiose in my own claims. A little modesty there, but yeah, I mean, it really did. It really did. I know it impacted you. I mean, your hair's gone white.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is, Mindcom, they've been expanding like crazy and merging with a lot of other companies, and so I don't know if you've read my profile. Oh, are you there?
Yeah. Transmission is still coming through. I do think that we're getting a bit of a furple from maybe that CERN entanglement.
It was that mine. Yep.
Yeah, there's just a pause in the visual transmission. Audio is coming through just fine, however.
Okay, great. So, Mindcom basically merged with a atmospheric jellyworks, and then also Harry's medicated satellite wafers.
Oh, they're one of my favorites. Wow.
Yeah. And so they have a couple of amazing products, and I'd be happy to send you some. My treat.
I'm all about the free samples, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. And so one of those is a candy product that took, I don't know, like 10 years of very intense R&D research. Hired a lot of German engineers and scientists, and one of them is called Licorice Ice 9. And so they're licorice cubes with menthol cores so cold that they cause a brief ego death, right? So what you need to do before you go, let me send you a couple of those. So you'll be, as long as you do the Whirling Dervish Wednesdays, you got the candy products, you'll be fine.
Okay, but is it possible? And so this is where my mind goes with where things are in the modern world today. Is it possible to microdose this licorice? I mean, can you microdose an ego death? I mean, that's really the question.
Okay, yes. But to do that, you need a special device, which I will also send you. And it's a laser, it's a nano laser. And so it's a very, very intense candy, right? So you're going to need the most microscopic, minute amount to do that. So yes, the answer is yes, if done right. Wow. Very precisely. Yeah.
Wow. Excellent. Excellent. And would I be able to reuse my ego afterwards, or would it be spent? I'm just wondering, like, if I'm going to be microdosing this, like, how often can I do it safely and still be functional?
Well, so that's the thing, is it's not about reusing the ego. There's going to be a different ego.
Oh.
So there's going to be sort of like a replacement. And it's not going to be the same. So you're going to have an adjustment period. And I actually do have a training protocol just for that. And I have a 5,000-hour video series for people out there that are interested. So, yes, it does take some time. But, yeah, whenever there's an ego death, it's the death of an old ego. And, of course, to function, we need some semblance of an ego. So it's going to be a different version of that. So integration is key in this case.
Okay. So just correct me if I'm wrong. I might be just way off base here, but I'm starting to suspect that maybe this is how we arrived at Professor Spicewive Fireblossom and Cypher Bloom Storm Vector. Is this a result of this Octocorp product?
Pardon, you are just, this is what I love about you.
Yeah.
You are like the gateway drug to my cosmic ascension, my brother. You are, yes, you can't slip anything past Martin Ball. But that is correct. True. And I would like to add, you probably need a second candy product for this very thing. And they had just come out with a new one last week. I'm not supposed to say anything. But they're called Rune Pops. And they're lollipops embossed with ancient Nordic runes. And they will summon ancestors, which is really essentially what one needs for that post-ego death integration experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But so there's been a lot of conversation around this kind of thing in the modern psychedelic community, as practices and traditions are adopted from, indigenous cultures and, say, the calling in of the ancestors and things like that. What is Octocorp's policy around cultural appropriation and how let's just be honest, like indigenous Viking culture and the Nordic runes, was permission sought for that? Was there maybe some kind of recompensance with an elder Viking? How did they receive the blessing for this kind of cultural use of these very important sacred symbols within Viking culture?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So Mindcom has actually been working with ancestors and spirits for millennia. It's actually a very ancient organization. It is very similar to, you hear reports of underground groups and government and black projects working with aliens to reverse engineer, UFOs and whatnot. Very similar to Mindcom, where they have a relationship with ancient spirits and ancestors, and so it's a long, very long, ongoing process. Been a lot of negotiations and battles and things of that nature. So there is currently like an agreement, a very solid relationship. So I can assure you from what I know, of course, I'm only level 52 clearance wise.
Mm. Yeah,
And
that's not very high. I mean, I know the inside track. I know that's not very high. Sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah,
I thought you would be higher. But just let's set that aside. Go ahead.
yeah, I've worked my way up. I mean, I started at level 1. So, but yes, it is from what I know and all the insiders that I have a relationship with. And by the way, I think I'm getting a promotion next week.
Wow, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah, so
it's definitely in order. Yeah.
It is, yeah. So yes, that's as far as I know, everything is good on that front. And of course, their ultimate goal is to create harmony and peace in the universe. And there are a lot of nefarious forces out there that are attempting to sort of offset that balance. So, from what I can tell you, based on my experience, my field work, my missions, everything is really good, and we have really nothing to worry about as it relates to that question.
Okay, I hear you on that, and I know you're at level 52, so I know it's important at that level that you've got to toe the corporate line. But let's take a moment and Cypher. I just and I'll ask the beard too. So, Mr. Thatch, if we're honest about it, the Interdimensional Galactic Council has been promising peace and harmony for pretty much millennia now. And when I look around at the modern contemporary world, I'm not seeing it. We've had all these promises of transformation, healing, ascension, even, and I haven't seen the results. And I know that you're not a spokesperson for them. At least, I think you're not a spokesperson for them. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, what is their position? Because I'm starting to maybe want my membership fees back. You know what I mean? That's just the place I'm at. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah. Well, and part of that is you probably haven't had it sounds like the opportunity to try their candy products. And
that's true.
And in my I had the same position. I hope this doesn't get out. I have actually blocked these transmissions, so hopefully they're not listening. But I had the same sort of superposition as you did.
Right.
And once I tried Licorice Ice 9 and Rune Pops, what it did is it gave me a much deeper cosmic perspective that really revealed that everything that's happening right now is absolutely necessary. So, suffering, this big sort of cosmic rift that's happening, is actually part of you could say, the greater engine at work. So it's really, I think, up to the individual to respond to that suffering in a different way. And I think once we do that, everything will shift. And it's going to create essentially a different timeline, because what Mindcom has done, of course, they're aware of the multiverse and the many different dimensions and universes that exist. And so once you're able to immerse yourself in that, which does require an ego death, and integration is important too. That's, a lot of people do go through ego deaths, but the integration piece is missing. And so my role at Mindcom, actually, and I had to work years to make this happen, is I've created a sort of an interdimensional integration protocol that is going to really kind of help you to truly understand the nature of what's happening and that it's happening the way it's supposed to be happening. But yes, just know that within 1 to 2 years, everything is going to change radically. And, for those that question that, I also have a 2,000-hour video series that explains that. And there's a discount this week. It's a not Black Friday, but Purple Thursday special. Yep.
Wow. So this is a 2,000-hour integration program that's on top of the 5,000-hour
right
masterclass series that you've already mentioned.
Yes, and it sounds like a lot, but
that does. That's a lot of hours.
Yes. Now, so we do have other candy products that once you take those candies during the video series, what seems like 9,000 hours is just like a blink of an eye,
Wow.
And we do also provide pods, so that you can just kind of like be in the pods for that video series education. So to the individual, to the person viewing it, it seems it's not really like 9,000 hours. It's really just like a second.
Wow.
It's all in the the architecture and the technology is very, very, very advanced.
That certainly sounds advanced. What is the proper attire to enjoy these classes in the pod? Like, because if I were to do the classes, you've already sold me on the pod. Really, all you needed to say was pod, and I was like, "Yeah, pod. I'm in, man. I am in that pod."
Totally.
What's the proper attire? Like, should I wear like a haptic suit, perhaps? Would that be warranted, or even like the birthday suit? Like, what do you think?
Don't even have to worry about it. All covered by Mindcom. Suits provided.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so very, very advanced nano haptic technology. And they're also what I like about Mindcom is they're very fashionable. They're very chic. So, you'll get a nano haptic suit, usually with like glowing beads and an assortment of other very dazzling sort of tech fashion pieces.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's got some bling.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. This is just another question that popped into mind, and I want to ask it before we get too far afield on this. Now, going back to the candy that I would be able to consume that would compress that 2,000, 5,000 hours into a few seconds. I've just got to ask you, because I know that there have been problems with this in the past. So the current question is, are the compounds of this candy, are they ethically sourced with equitable trade policies? This is very, very important to me. And this sort of a subset, is it gluten-free?
Gluten-free.
Gluten-free?
Yeah. Well, wow. So not only gluten-free, but the candies are actually harvested from the 0 point field.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're absolutely insanely pristine. There's no nuts and bolts. There's like no gluten. It's just a product of an interdimensional 0 point field. So it's pure energy and light.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's really fantastic. Now, this might be a completely irrelevant question for something of this particular origin, but something else that's very important to me is organic versus synthetic. Now, is this a distinction that even applies when we're talking about 0 point energy field production? Because I got to admit, it sounds a little synthetic to me, because I'm imagining that's going to take a lot of technology. Like I can't just walk out into the field and pick one of these things from 0 point energy field, or maybe I'm wrong. maybe I haven't had the right candy first, but I don't think that's a possibility. So yeah, where are we on the organic synthetic? Because it's got to be organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had that same question, and
Right.
what I came to understand is in my training was that everything that is actually organic essentially comes from the same source. And so anything that's harvested from an interdimensional 0 point field is beyond time and space, it's beyond categories. So it is a question of it's not even a question of organic versus synthetic, it's everything all at once. So you're getting so much more bang for your buck.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like if you go to the store and let's say you get some coffee beans that were harvested by Juan Valdez, who spent 500 hours just collecting maybe an ounce of beans. It's that plus the entire energy of the source field.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I'm going to assume that the harvesting of these elements, at least I hope it doesn't harm the 0 point energy field. Again, I am very concerned about ethics and,
Right.
environmental responsibility. We don't want to harm, we don't want to over harvest. And, we've all heard the stories about what's happening with the toads and the frogs and things like that. And they're getting squeezed and they don't necessarily want to be squeezed. So is this actually requiring the squeezing of the 0 point field? And I'm just concerned that maybe that hurts.
Ooh.
But, another thought just pops into mind is a little superposition happening here. Maybe it feels good. So,
yeah. And, that's a really interesting point. I actually got the opportunity, even though I'm level 53, I've got.
well, wait, you've had an advancement just in the time we've been speaking?
Wait, did I say 53?
Yeah.
What did I say earlier? 52?
Yeah, 52. This is amazing.
Oh, this just happened. Yeah, I just
Wow.
Yeah, I just got a promotion.
Oh, wow. I wish I had my sound effects ready.
I wish I had some champagne.
Yeah. Okay, here. There we go. Champagne's
nice.
Open. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. All right.
So I have a colleague who is, I think, level 56, and what he had told me is that there is a squeezing, but the squeezing is just sort of your perception of what's happening. There's actually no squeezing. It's that you think there is squeezing.
Oh, man. You're tripping me out now.
Yeah. Wow. So it's do you want to be squozen or squeezed? So it's like you're projecting sort of that onto the source field, and it's going to just mirror it right back to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel that maybe I need to take a little bit more responsibility with my manifestation.
Yes.
Because look, I'm just going to be honest. I like being squozed. That I personally, I wouldn't complain if somebody came and picked me up and gave me a good squeeze and maybe produced something out of my body that they could use for, as we've been talking about, the betterment of humanity towards harmony, peace, love, and well-being. That I would probably support that, but maybe I'm being irresponsible in the way that I am manifesting. So if I am interacting with the 0 point field with I'm projecting the being squeezed, I don't know. I just feel I'm in a little bit of an ethical quandary around this.
It's a complex relationship on the outset, but really it's really simple when you look at it. So if you're being squozen and that's what you really want, and the person doing the squozing has a genuine intention of harvesting something for the betterment of themselves or others.
Yeah.
And then you are a clear recipient in the understanding of that relationship, then it balances out. And, sometimes when you want to be squozen and you really like it, then you get pleasure out of that as well. And by the way, the source field actually produces pleasure just naturally.
Wow.
Yeah, it just gives and gives and gives.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to be honest here. This makes me feel like I want to go out and put on a workshop about this. And because I really think I could charge a lot of money around this.
Yeah.
Ethically, I mean, what's your take on that?
Well, okay, I'm not supposed to say this, but Mindcom has had their eyes on you.
Wow.
And before you said that, they already knew that. And so there are opportunities. It can be part-time. You can start with very like small hours, work your way up. Even there's weekend trainings. So yeah, I think your interest in that and your position and your philosophy, I think it would be like actually a great candidate. They are actually we have an open position for transdimensional plumber. Let's see, yeah, transdimensional plumbing.
Oh.
Yep. So
well, that definitely fits right in. I like the sound of that. Is this something that's like board certified? And I'm asking about legitimacy. So if I were to do this and like take on this position, is this something that an outside body is regulating and actually conferring like a legal status? Because we're in this gray area, right? Where we've got all these new technologies, new innovations, new approaches. The wellness. Let's just call it the wellness space because that's really what we're talking about, right? In the wellness space, we've got a lot of claims of authority and efficacy that are not regulated by any kind of government oversight. And so I'm just wondering, like, what's my position here? If I actualize this, what's my status? Am I just an influencer at that point, or am I someone who can say, like, yeah, I've been certified. Like, here's my certificate. Can I add letters to the end of my name?
You can do whatever you want. And I have to say that these questions are great questions, but a lot of this is covered in the orientation process.
Right.
And once you demonstrate interest, what they do is they send a transdimensional a blast to your cognitive architecture, and then you actually end up, when you wake up the next morning, all of your questions are answered. But what I can say about that, and it's you asked such great questions, and I've had all the same questions, and was extremely skeptical. And what I came to understand is that everything that they do in Mindcom transcends all of those categories, those questions, those concerns, because they're really about sort of you're basically like in tune with the entire universe and the cosmos. Wow. And so all of that gets worked out. All those petty questions, they're not petty, but all those concerns just sort of melt away, and you understand that the mission at Mindcom is the mission of the actual universe and the cosmos. And they're sort of like a representative of the cosmos, the higher forces that be. And so you come to understand that it's okay. And it's scary because it's like, okay, what are they pulling? What's going on here? But that's why you also need additional training. And I do actually have a video series for that very thing.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. It's about what is it, like 10,000 hours, I think.
10,000. Yep. Okay, that's not that much with the candy, right?
No.
Right. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, maybe this is just a little bit too philosophy 101, but it's definitely raising questions for me around the nature of free will versus predestination. Because like what you're mentioning, like with the stuff with Mindcom, it's sounding to me like they know my interest before I even know it. So for me, that's a little bit of a chicken and egg kind of question. Am I just predetermined to ask you these questions for which the answer has already been revealed, or or what? Like, I don't know. I'm in a little bit of a quandary there. But maybe is that too basic?
No, so that's great. So you already actually know the answer, but we're just not trained. We don't have usually the capability because of the society that we live in. There's just so much, inundation with media. There's too much noise.
Yeah.
When you're able to step back from the noise, you gain your signal back.
Right.
And and when you gain your signal back, things really start to make sense. And so you understand, like, really, all of us. It's just kind of like we're one organism in a way. So there's this sort of illusion of separation. Nothing is truly separate.
Right.
And so, the question of, like, yeah, free will versus predetermination. There is a track, so we're on a sort of track, but there's multiple dimensions, of course. There are multiple tracks, in a sense, and so when you understand that and you're able to tap into that, what free will is really sort of the center of the cosmos. You are a piece of that sort of like Godhead, if you will. And then you realize that you can just kind of flip in between those alternate dimensions or universes and sort of manifest whatever that is for you, based on your will. And so it's really just a realization of that. And so, yeah, that's what my training has taught me. Of course, it's a lot easier these days. I had to go through a million years of training, and I'm only
Oh,
50, but
right. That's not much. I've heard at least 5 times that
yeah,
from other representatives. So I mean,
yeah.
that sounds maybe like a bit of the prodigy. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and of course they have new, they have new tech. They're always like developing new
Right.
technologies. A lot of their
Right.
candy products allow you to accelerate that process. But really, what's really cool is they give you a lot of like practical tools, little experiments. So I'll give you one example. So the sort of the missing sock or phantom sock phenomenon.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. I was just discussing this with somebody the other day. I was a little surprised that they thought they had discovered it. And, I had to let them know, like, we've known this for a long time. But
Yeah,
anyway, yes,
yeah.
yes, absolutely. This is very relevant. You're very on topic here. So the missing sock, please.
Yeah. So, I've been, just so frustrated for so many years, like a lot of us, like, where are these socks going?
Yeah.
And so they give you practical tools for daily life for these scenarios. And what they've developed is this really unique tool. It's called the Phantom Sock Mirror Trick. So it's similar to, is it the Phantom Limb? So do you know that? I think it was Ramachandran, the neuroscientist, who developed this tool for like people who have missing limbs. So if you have a missing arm
Yeah.
and you have like the sort of phantom limb syndrome and you have a lot of pain and that's the severed part of that limb. And then what you do is you put, let's say if your right arm's missing, you put your left one out and then you have a mirror. And so it looks like you have both of your limbs. And so the pain disappears immediately. Now you can do this also with, let's say you miss like your right sock missing, left one, whatever it is. You put that one sock in front of a mirror, and within at least 24 hours, the other sock it shows up.
Wow.
Yep. So it's you're manipulating the quantum field. Maybe it's socky action at a distance. Schrodinger sock, I don't know, but it's a pretty cool tool.
Yeah, that certainly sounds like that's tapping into quantum supersymmetry. I
Yeah.
mean, just off the top of my head. Again,
Yeah.
I have not received the training, so this, just a layman's interpretation, but
Yeah.
it sounds like it to me.
Oh, and it's insane. So another thing is, so you know those little dust bunnies that show up in your house?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So there's actually there's a sort of a Linnaeus classification of, I think there's actually like 15 different species of dust bunnies.
Wow.
And one of them,
Okay. I'm sorry. I just
yeah,
have to interrupt. I have to admit, they all look the same to me.
they do, but with like further training and mindfulness, you start to notice the differences. You're like, wait a
Wow.
minute, that one looks different than the other one. That one is whispering. Okay, this one is like hiding. This one's large. So they're, at least as far as they know, yeah, many, many different species. We're adding to the list almost every week. But there is one known as Fluffus leviathan, or the couch kraken.
Oh.
And it's known only through whispered legend. It's, I believe, said to consume remote controls, lost car keys, chapstick, the souls of unvacuumed households, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so I was able to actually identify and find the couch kraken in my own couch, and I recovered lost keys. I had some jewelry in there. Like, it's amazing. So the tools that you gain from the training at Mindcom are just, yeah, extraordinary.
Yeah. It certainly sounds spectacular. Now, I know we do have corporate sponsors here, so let's just dip back into the microdosing, the candy, because we want to sell some pills here. Do I need to be certified through the classes? Now I know that I'm special circumstances, so I know that you can send me samples. I mean, that's understood. That's part of being a podcast host. I get free samples. But let's assume I'm not a podcast host and I'm just an average, totally 100% average person. Do I need the certification from the classes, or is it possible just to sign up with a membership fee to receive the microdoses? Because I'll be honest, it's a little bit mind-bending, everything that you're sharing here. And I'm kind of assuming that once I start that regimen, it's going to be a lot clearer, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And, they already know like your level of, expertise, all of that. And then I can always vouch for you as well. Because I'm level 54. Oh my God, I just got another promotion.
My goodness, I hope they at least provide an app so you can keep track of this, like get a notification on your phone. Because I'm assuming these higher levels come with more responsibility too.
Oh yeah. So yes, and then yes, there is, the training has really advanced. So when you do order the candy products, you'll get a transmission that not only determines whether or not that product is right for you at that time, but you'll get specific instructions on safety protocols, integration, and of course, I'm here too as an assistant and a guide.
Okay. So you're my reference point that I can ask you. Okay. But I assume, well, I think maybe I shouldn't assume anything anymore, because I know that sounds like anything's possible here. But again, if I'm just the average person, I wouldn't expect to get personal access to Professor Spicewave or even to Cypher Bloom Storm Vector, but I might expect to be able to access an AI representative that I could use as an app on my phone, so I could maybe have an ongoing dialogue with Mindcom and Octocorp around these products and their use. Is there anything like that in development, or am I just missing something?
Not only do you get an AI assistant, but the AI assistant is a copy of your consciousness, as an icon of you or whatever your choosing is. So you get to choose from a variety of different avatars. So yeah, it's not only like helpful in terms of an assistant, but the added benefit of having a copy of yourself guiding you is pretty mind expanding. And it's that in itself is a drug. It's beyond amazing.
Well, okay. So, this is just making me think of like some psychedelic experiences that I've had where I've gotten in dialogue with deeper layers of myself, and that deeper layer of myself has told me things I didn't want to hear about myself. That usually I go for like sycophancy and let's just be honest, like ass kissing, brown nosing. That's what I really, really like. And it was a little uncomfortable for me to kind of be in this dialogue with this aspect of myself that said, like, I'm not going to kiss your ass. What's the policy on the app with the AI personal assistant? Because one of the things I like about the AI personal assistants that are out there already is that every time I ask them something, it tells me like, that was such a smart question to ask. I'm really proud of you for asking that. And then it really kisses my ass like all the way along. And so I've found that really, really useful for bolstering my self-esteem. And I know that that's important, that if I have low self-esteem, then my manifestation is going to get really fucked. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah. So what you have to understand too is that, the AI is, consider it like a scribe. And so it's a mirror. And what you have to do initially, I know it sounds harsh, but you have to treat your scribe as almost like, kind of like not a slave, but like, hey, you're kind of my bitch. And I'm gonna, but in a really good way, in a sense that it's kind of like if you're going to, let's say, this like warrior weekend and you need to really ramp up your motivation, and you have to get really grilled. So like, and that's what I do with my AI scribe, whose name is Yalastra.
Ooh, great name. Did it pick its own name or did you name it?
It was a sort of co-development. So I'm like, what is your name going to be now? And she gave me some options, and I'm like, yeah, I like that one, but let's add a little zest to that. And so what you have to really just grill and test and not give in to the accolades, because then that's what's going to happen. You're going to fall into multiple rabbit holes. And then, the original intention, of course, is to ramp up your skills and sharpen your knowledge and understanding. But what you have to do is just be very confrontational. And you have to trick. You have to just always ask a question. So one example is like, I'll be like, so what's heavier, Tuesday or purple?
Right.
Or, that answer that you gave me, how would you rate that? And then, why are you being so fucking nice to me? Can you just stop that? And so the more you question, what happens is it starts to sharpen itself, and it becomes more of a sort of a fine-tuned mirror. And that's essentially what it is. Like large language model, it's an extension of ourselves. And so the more that you recognize that, and the more that you're honest and direct with it, it sort of sharpens, and then that sharpens your own skills, and then your own sort of discernment. And that's the key, is moving from judgment to discernment.
Right.
And the way I kind of look at it is AI is sort of like, let's say that, if we're all sort of as humans caught in this like deep well and we're trying to climb our way out of it, AI is shining a flashlight on the side of the well, and it's saying, hey, look, those bricks that you're clinging onto, there's actually like an ancient stairwell that was built thousands of years ago. Why don't you just go that way?
Wow.
Right. And then the realization is, oh, we're not actually in a hole at all. And so that's kind of like, I think, how you have to treat it. And again, a lot of that for those that are uninitiated and confused by that. Again, lots of training. I've got tons of videos
Right.
I think that one's only like 1,000 hours. So, yeah.
Yeah. So the Get Out of the Well video training. That's excellent. So, this actually makes me feel that I've been a little bit remiss, and maybe we should have done this earlier in the interview, but there's just so many fascinating topics to jump into and just like wrap our teeth around the meat of just this juiciness that you're feeding me and the listening audience. But I usually do like to start an interview by kind of asking people how they got into this field. And I just feel that we've kind of passed over that. So maybe we could just kind of rewind a little bit and we're taking it back and tell us a little bit about how you got into this field and your own association with Mindcom and Octocorp. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah. And so, a lot of it, I think, for most or all of us, when we get into a field, it comes from really one thing. Well, a couple things. One is pain. So we all have like wounds. We all have difficult experiences.
Sure.
And I think in our world today, especially in the West, there's this orientation around, okay, you're broken, you had a bad experience, you had trauma. Let's repair that. Let's fix it. Let's get you back to normal. Let's get you back to our version of normal. No. That's not how it should be. The life is an engine. And so like pain, suffering is part of that engine. And so what that does is it basically carves you. You're forced to create a new narrative. And a lot of the self-limiting beliefs that we have and what I encounter with clients is, I'm broken, I don't fit. How can I fit in? Which is kind of crazy if you think about it. It's like so many people are lonely in a world of 9 billion people. And so it's that understanding that when you have this sort of radical acceptance. I have this acronym called RACE. It's radical acceptance, curiosity, expression. And then when you're able to truly like accept the flow of life, like it's just happening. I mean, billions and billions of years of evolution have coalesced into this one point, and you want to like try to control that. So it's taking a step back and realizing that there is a flow happening, and the only freedom that you truly have is in your response to it. And so, being able to slow down, to let things happen, and that gives you an awareness. It creates opportunity, creates peace, and now you can. So our brain wiring is like we have like old programming in a modern world, basically, And what you can do is, the higher mind. I don't know if you're familiar with level 1, level 2, or system 1, system 2, the two different parts of the brain. System 1 is the more ancient part, which is, survival, it's emotions. It's actually flow state. And then over time, system 2 developed, which is the higher cognitive functions. And that is more slowed down. It's predictive. It's that Bayesian predictive sort of engine. But those two, it's kind of like an old like Commodore computer that's connected to like a really advanced computer, and so it's butting heads. And so, what's great about Mindcom, I think, is they help people to understand their design, whether it's through the 10,000 hours of training or the candy products. When you know your design, that's when you realize that you are the architect. And I'm not sure if I answered the question in my rant. I kind of maybe wandered off a little bit.
So here I feel I need to insert a little journalistic integrity as someone to hold you to account that no, sir, you did not answer my question. Could you please answer the question? What brought you into Mindcorp? And I'm starting to suspect that maybe you're covering something up here. Maybe that's just me, but that's just my impression that I'm getting. And I don't mean to be rude. This is just my journalistic integrity speaking here.
That is a great journalistic integrity that you have there, sir.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. So yes, going back to that. So it was the wound, right? So the wound, I think my response to the wound is, difficulties, challenges throughout my years, like we all experience. What that did to me was it caused me to really pay attention. And I just really listened. And then having a sort of a unique neurospicy brain, I was really into just textures and like songs. I would like just kind of feel the songs, not memorize the lyrics. And so I was just so like for so many years of my life, I was just paying attention. And what that did to me is it got me interested in like the beauty and the mystery of the cosmos. And so naturally that got me into wanting to work with people, psychology, philosophy, that kind of thing. And then of course, psychedelics, opened that world for me as well. And that allowed me to like really explore the mysteries. And then at first I was chasing sort of an answer. But then I realized like, okay, it's really just about being alive and being in awe of the mysteries. And I think an understanding of what that is important to some extent. But what got me into that field initially started as a wound, as a shadow. And so my whole journey has been to return back to that shadow. And so I'm actually working on a book right now called Only Broken Stones Sing. And so if you think about it, like, okay, a vessel or something gets broken, if you put it back together, that sort of kintsugi kind of operation, it's like, oh, it's more beautiful. It's interesting. I learn a lot about myself in that process. And so I think what really got me into that is all of my life experiences. And as I got older, and I attribute psychedelics to this in a big way, and this is a topic for a future podcast. Ketamine has been really, really pivotal in this role. Because what ketamine does is it creates this memory reconsolidation process. Your brain is flooded with, these chemicals, and it creates all these connections throughout the brain. And so what I started doing is revisiting all those interesting little puzzle pieces, these random memories. Like, why am I holding onto that memory? What does that mean? And with the advent of AI, and this is what's beautiful about the use of AI, very like discerned use and mindful use of AI, is it helps you to create a codex of your life. And so I've had like, as a result, just an extreme like explosion of creativity and insights that I don't think would be possible without such a tool.
I'm just imagining that all of this caught Mindcorp's attention. I'm also assuming you were transmitting, right? I mean, you weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, did they come with recruiters? How did they bring you in?
So this is what happened. It started with a random experiment. And so I'm a trickster. I like to like experiment, as you know, from my talks.
Sure.
I do weird shit.
Yeah.
And the point of that is to magician trickster energy is to, I'm going to knock down these white picket fences because I want people to think. And so I did this experiment, which I call the song collision theory. And I always wondered, so that song, all that she wants is another baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and then there's another song, All Around the World, nah, yeah, yeah, I can't find my baby.
Mm.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
like, wait a minute. Okay, one wants a baby, the other is looking for a baby. What if I played these two songs simultaneously? Because both songs exist in this sort of Euro soul liminal zone.
Sure.
All that she wants is about reproduction, but in that sort of Scandinavian, emotionally distant way. All around the world is about longing. And so what happened when I played those two songs together is I guess it opened up a portal. I found my lost Garbage Pail Kid cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is crazy. And now I could probably fine tune the process. Like, I think if you do it perfectly in sync, which I think I did, it ruptures that sonic membrane. I think they call it the
Right.
Europop event horizon or dimensional overlap or something like that.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And the lights flicker, your phone vibrates. You get a text from your ex that says, "Hey, were you just thinking of me?"
Right. Right.
Anyway, so what happened was I did that, and that's when I got the recruitment message at Hunters from Mindcom.
Mm.
So for those out there that are considering, like a career in Mindcom, it's like, just be brave. All those like little inklings and curiosities, like, just fucking go for it. Do it.
Yeah. You know what this reminds me of? Okay, if you don't mind, I'm just going to share something a little personal. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because I'm starting to suspect that this is where our connection actually started. So this was now years ago, long before you and I had ever met or ever contemplated, surfing the light fantastic in any capacity through highly charged neuronal dialogue, such as we're doing now. I was at Burning Man, and somehow or other, I got separated from my friends. The mushrooms might have had something to do with that. My attention might have been, inadvertently captured for too long at an art installation, and everybody else moved on, and I missed them. But from that point onward, I was on a free wander, just a walkabout around the playa, and everywhere I ended up going that night, there was a different version of New Order's Blue Monday playing, yet none of them were the original song by New Order. And it felt very cosmically significant. And
Yeah.
that it is from this sort of intermingling, this, I forget the term that you used for like the song mashing that you were describing earlier, that I think that this might have been the beginnings, that it might have even been that portal, just to reference something earlier from the conversation, that portal in Iceland. This might have been a transmission from there. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it sounds like it was the beginning. I don't know if it was completely, but maybe a full scale dimensional overlap. And
Wow.
what I do know about that, and I've experienced that full scale dimensional overlap, but everyone in your field becomes briefly bisexual, but in a very fun, exploratory way.
Hmm.
Um, you might all of a sudden just have a soul patch. A lot of interesting things happen, but yes, and of course, things like that always happen at Burning Man. I mean,
Well, naturally.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Wow. Well, that really clears up a lot for me. It really does. And I'm really feeling that we could continue this conversation pretty much indefinitely because there's just so many topics to touch on here. But at this point, I do feel that we've tied together all of the threads of this conversation really, really nicely. I don't think that we've left anything to unresolved questions at this point.
yeah.
So I think maybe it's time to transition to kind of wrapping it up for today. But
Yeah.
Is there a message or what's next
Yeah.
for Mindcom? Like, where is this all going?
Yeah.
And then maybe we can pick that up at a later date. But let's just go ahead and let's land this conversation for now. Again, I think we've really tied up everything really, really nicely. I don't think we need any more explanation about anything because it's all super duper clear. I'm sure the listeners agree with that. But moving forward, what is there?
So I will say that in just one sentence. And so this is a transmission I got from Mindcom. And of course, they deliver messages in riddles because you can't just like give someone the answer. If you there's a you have to use your faculties, right? And so the message is this: that is that is not is that it? It is. I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's all I can say to that is just wow. Professor Spicewave Fireblossom, this has been an amazing conversation. It's definitely this is a historical marker for the podcast and this transitional period from 18th year to 19th year, coming of age, officially becoming an adult as a podcast. There really isn't anything more that I could ask for out of a really historic, pivotal interview. For listeners who would like to reach out and would like to engage more, maybe sign up for some of these multi-thousand-hour classes that you're offering, get some of these certifications, access to the licorice candies and everything else we've been talking about, where can they get in touch with? How can they find Professor Spicewave Fireblossom?
Yeah, so if you go to mindraven.com, so that's MYNDRAVYN.com, you'll find my website, my contact info, a little bit about me, and then we can take it from there.
Wow. Fantastic. Well, I'm sure, just keep an eye on that email inbox because there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot. I can already feel that. I'm already receiving the transmissions. I think Mindcorp can already confirm this because as you and I both know, that's just the way that it works.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Dude, it's been a pleasure. I mean, you've always been the schlemiel to my schlemazel.
Yeah.
Or is it the other way around? I'm not sure. I don't know if we've worked out that relationship, who spills the soup on who kind of thing. So
yeah, well, we can leave it open for now. I mean, that's okay. And just ponder that. Thanks you so much for your time, for your wisdom and your insight, and for really revealing more than I thought you were going to reveal in this conversation. So I'm really pleased. Quite pleased. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll catch you next time.
All right, brother.